and go into presentation mode. Masha, how does that look?
Oh, it looks perfect now.
Okay,
Thanks,
good.
Andy.
I'm going to jump right in to make the most of the time. This is a topic I never get to talk about, and I love. I'm always giving presentations about content strategy, SEO, analytics. This is a presentation about your time. This is a universal topic. These are the things that I've learned to do to maximize my time. And after having done many 20, 30,000 hours of marketing, this is crazy, but the research shows that people who spend more time per article are getting much better results. Like if you spend 6+ hours on an article, you are far more likely to get better results than the average digital marketer. But the research also shows that people who blog much more get better results. It's an impossibility to do 8 hours per article every day and publish an article every day. How could that possibly be done? As an individual, that is not possible. And what it makes us feel like doing is just losing our minds trying to get everything done where your hands are working as fast as they can. You want to get someone else to help. Now you've got 2 people working on the same keyboard. You're both working as quickly as possible. This is a joke, of course, because it's not possible to have 2 people who are typing on the same keyboard. I think this is maybe from a movie or something. This actually happened to me, though. This is not a joke. I ended up with an injury on my wrist from repetitive stress. It was extremely painful. And it's world. So these are 7 things that you can do that will help you be more productive with the same amount of time. These are the 7 habits of highly effective marketers. The first is to get the most value, to squeeze as much value as you can out of your email inbox. We all spend time. I tracked all my time for years, and I spend close to 30% of my time doing daily email. I have filters. I have a virtual assistant. I do many things to be more efficient, and I still spend all this time. You may be what's called a red creeper, where you never delete email and your inbox is growing forever. I have a friend with 22,000 messages in his inbox. That freaks me out. You may be a green creeper that sometimes does delete email, where you're actually your inbox is large, but it kind of stays within a range because you do try to clean it sometimes. You may be one of those binge deleters that actually deletes a bunch of email now and then to try to get it back down to a manageable size. That's about 5% of people. I myself am what's called a wire walker, where I try to keep my inbox around 25 messages at most. It gets stressful otherwise. But we all sort of end up using our inboxes as to-do lists. There are some people who are extremely efficient with their time. They're like the inbox zero people. 17% of us actually keep the inbox very close to zero at all times. I'm going to show you a tool that I'm using now. I think it's still in beta. This is an email client, an email inbox management tool called Superhuman that has some very clever features. It's designed to help you get through your inbox faster by not having to use the mouse. There's a keystroke for everything. You almost never look at your full inbox view because once you're in Superhuman, you don't go back to your inbox after dealing with a message. It just automatically brings up the next one, reducing that cognitive load, that brain space where you go back to deciding what to open. And also, as soon as you're working on a message and start talking to a person, it's going to give you all the information about that person there on the right. Go to their website, copy their email, go to their LinkedIn profile, very efficient. And as soon as you start typing about a time, a date of next week, this week, it pulls in your calendar over there on the right. And it shows you, as soon as you start typing Monday, it's going to show you your calendar for Monday. It saves a lot of time. I think it's a paid tool, but there's lots of ways to do it. Just be as efficient as possible, including this trick for digital marketers. You get this question. Would you mind answering this? Would you answer this question for me? How many times a day do you get a question in your email? If you're a digital marketing expert, you are flooded with people asking you random questions. When I get these questions, I actually do something a bit counterintuitive. People ask me questions like this. People ask me to contribute to content like this. So instead of just saying, sure, here are a few thoughts, is this helpful? I go all out on the response and I write extremely detailed answers to people's questions when they email me questions. I use formatting and bolding and links and images. And then in this, I'm not even kidding, this is someone who asked me some questions, and this was my reply. This is me replying to someone in day-to-day email. Why on earth would I do that? Look at how I'm writing a 1,000-word answer. First of all, their feedback is, wow, that's great. Thank you so much. Wow, this is amazing. I hear that a lot. Thank you so much. You're exceeding expectations. You're blowing people's minds just through day-to-day email connections. But the next trick is I keep those messages in a folder called content marketing. That folder is filling up with insights, with answers. I waited 3 years after collecting these messages, and by the time, after 3 years when I went in there, I found I had answered 171 different questions. I moved them all into a Google Doc. There were 92 pages. I had written 92 pages of answers to people's questions. Then I categorized them into a couple big buckets. This is what it turns out people want to know from me. Very insightful right away. And then I start digging through there and organizing those answers into articles. I moved into my template. I'll tell you more about my template in a minute. And pretty soon I have just articles suddenly forming like stars in a nebula, like they're just appearing, like how to turn a press release into a blog post. Wow, I'd answered that question 3 times, 3 different ways for 3 different people, put it all together, makes a great guest post. Send it to my friend Ginny at Spin Sucks. I'll mention her again later. Goes live as a guest post. I had my article about collaborative content marketing came from those answers, came from that folder. Now it's an article called Collaborative Content Marketing, 5 Ways to Upgrade Your Content. Today, it ranks number 2 for collaborative content marketing. Okay, it's getting traffic now. It was in the inbox. There I can see my rank my rank change over time. Look at this article, testimonials. I had been talking a lot about social proof and testimonials. By the time I got ready to write the article, how to write testimonials plus 10 testimonial examples, when I put the piece together, this was in email. It was started out as emails, day-to-day emails in my inbox. Look, there's the featured snippet. It ranks number 2 for how to write testimonials, ranks number 1 for testimonial examples. That article gets hundreds, like 400 visits a day, but it started out as an email. Collect those day-to-day emails and turn them into answers. Those answers, align those with key phrases, give it a keyword-focused headline. You're writing content all day long. The main reason why people say they don't have time to blog is they don't have time. Right? They're too busy working with clients, talking to their team. But they're all producing content. We are all producing content all day long. It's simply just done in day-to-day email. The bottom line is, and social media marketers have known this for years, never waste a good conversation by having it in private. It's a huge mistake. The best marketers know that questions flow from the audience to the salespeople, but then those topics can flow from the salespeople to the marketing team. If you're on a big team, go to the top salesperson, steal their laptop, look at their sent mail folder, go write articles on those that based on their answers, and then give them back those articles so they can email that article to the next prospect. Very powerful. Next, I want to show you how to capture ideas. Every great content marketer I know has a process, a system for capturing ideas. Some have like a notebook in their pocket. Some use Evernote. I'm going to show you what I do. I'm using Google Docs. I'm a Google Suite, whatever, G Suite power user. And I have a spreadsheet called Content and Marketing. And in it, there is a tab called Topics. I collect all my ideas for articles inside this little tab. Fun. And now it's like, what's a link worth? Oh, I have a presentation that mentions that how to take a selfie. Oh, that's a fun thing. That would be an interesting kind of fun little piece, might do well on social media. What's organic influencer marketing? I just collect the ideas over here. Then so that's where my ideas go. I can do it from my phone. I just put ideas in there. Then when I get several pieces of research or find examples or find statistics or find people that could contribute to one of these articles, it's time to expand on them. I open up my Google template, my content marketing template, and in that template, I start collecting the ideas. Okay, this is my template. I'll talk more about it in a bit, but this template actually has an entire, it forces me to do good keyword research, meta descriptions, collaboration, writing social posts, writing email subject lines. My template forces me to think about all content promotion. Then I just copy and paste the link to the new baby article, just where I'm collecting ideas in here. So now I have a place to put ideas, a container for examples and ideas and images and quotes related to that topic. So here's an example of one. The organic influencer marketing is an article I'll be writing probably next year. I started doing some keyword research on it. I got the URL planned in the title tag. Here I am scrolling, so you can see. I'm going to add internal links on who I'm going to collaborate with. I'm going to work on some headlines. I've written the intro to it. Oh yeah, Isaiah did some research on this. Cool. Last night, actually, I added to this. I found some other research that supported this piece, so I added it to this piece. So I have 50 or more articles that are gradually growing. And when they get to a critical size, I get serious about writing them. When I've finally written them, they go in this other tab called Writing. This is every article I've ever written. This is how many articles I've written so far this year on my site as guest posts and with videos, yes or no. And then this is my career total. I've written 407 articles about digital marketing. It's a system. The idea is to have a system. So you capture ideas, you have a place to put them, you can expand on the ideas, they're growing. So great content marketers are collectors, and you have hundreds of partially written things or things that are gradually growing. When they get to that critical mass, now it's time to invest big. I actually did an article, did a video. I captured myself, I turned on screen capture and recorded myself the 4-hour process of writing an article and doing all the keyword research, doing all of the all the outreach to influencers, all the editing, everything that went into it. And I made it a super high-speed video where you can actually watch me write a high-ranking article. It's right here if you wanted to find it, or ask me later, ask me on social media how to find this. It's this article here where I wear this funny wig on the picture. How to write a blog post that ranks high. It's literally a video of me writing a high-ranking article. It's kind of fun. How much time did it take me? 7 hours and 35 minutes if you include the editor and the designer. This is how the time breaks down. Another really powerful thing for managing time is to prioritize. To the extent where you stop everything and focus, prioritize PR and SEO. You were mentioned in an article. Maybe you got an email alert that told you your brand was mentioned in an article. You go look at that mention. Does it have a link? Yes? Party. No link? It's time to stop what you're doing. Find that writer, connect, say thank you. If they respond, ask them to, no pressure, but it'd be great, it'd help me, it's an SEO thing. Would you please update that mention to be a link to my site? This is link reclamation. It's very, very powerful. And and if you're not doing this is like step 0 in link building. Even if you don't have an SEO firm, if you don't have a partner, there's no one on your team, somebody should be doing this level of PR where you set up these mentions. There's free ones, there's free tools. Talkwalker alerts, it'll show you if you get mentioned anywhere. It'll send you an email once a week, and I want you to stop what you're doing when you get that email and go start making friends with the people who mentioned you. Even if they don't make the link, you should be growing your network. Talkwalker alerts has this. Like little, it'll show you where you're mentioned. It's not an amazing tool. It picks up a lot of noise. Just ignore things that aren't relevant. SEMrush Ahrefs is a paid tool that has, it sorts them by their domain rating. Pretty cool. SEMrush has one they call there's brand monitoring. It sorts them, or it shows their, in this case, they call it authority score. Cool. So now you know to go back. It looks like this. Oh, some website mentioned me. Hey, thanks. That's nice. But oh no, you didn't mention me, or you didn't link to me. So my letter to the editor looks like this. Hey, I see you mentioned us. Could you link to me? I actually show a screenshot. Could you link to me the way you linked to this other site? He writes back, oh wow, I'm really sorry about that. I added the link, and there's the link. The value to that, whether you use Serpstat or whichever tool, here it is in Moz, it gives us the authority. This is the value of that link to me. So that's really important, is to prioritize PR and that level of link reclamation. Delegation, of course, is really important and really valuable way to leverage your time. There's like the fulcrum, right? You're moving the fulcrum over when you delegate. Move the fulcrum over. Things you should stop doing immediately, maybe, right? Can't be delegated. Social media promotion, scheduling, research, roundups, editing, formatting presentations, curating content from other people. These are things that you don't have to do, that can easily be delegated. So you move some of these things over from the manual category to the delegated, and some can be moved all the way over to automate, right? There are marketers I know famous marketers, I won't name them, who really all they do is write outlines and first drafts. So they basically have someone else write the final draft and do all the publishing, email delivery. Then they use tools, of course, right? Lots of us use tools for social scheduling. You can find these people on TaskRabbit. You can find them in the Philippines. Upwork is filled with people who want to help you. My friends at Don't Panic Management are really great at this. That's where I got my virtual assistant, Emily. She's amazing. Now, there are 3 kinds of social media, and some of it really can be delegated. Some of it can never be delegated. Think of it this way. These are the 3 types of social media, what they used to call the Twitter rule of thirds. Creation, curation, and conversation. Creation are things that can be delegated, right? Like you're driving traffic. The goal of this is promoting content. Curation is like when you read the industry news and you want to share something that someone else wrote. You're making friends with one of these creators. You're just filling your stream with relevant stuff so your followers like it. That's sharing industry news, and that can be scheduled, right? You do all your reading in the morning and you do all your scheduling of those things in the morning. You can use a tool like Buffer so they don't pile up all at once. And then conversation, often done by time blocking, where you go in several times a day and just interact with people. You cannot delegate this. That must be done human. That's human to human, right? That's answering questions, that's saying hello, happy birthday, thank you. Thank you is a big part of it. So the idea of scheduling, social scheduling for the things that we are mentioned in or that we created, I actually woke up early every day for a month and documented every repeatable process and made a guide that shows exactly how to do social media scheduling for my company. Now it shows basically exactly how to do it. Right? These are the logins. This is where you go. Actually, we're not using this tool anymore. This was Hootsuite. But it shows you how to schedule, how to mention, all of the standards. Now, when we get mentioned somewhere, all I have to do is go to this list called Promotables and copy and paste in the link to the place that mentioned us. And then there's a social media marketer who comes in here and just promotes that thing to whatever level we tell them. A, B, C, D, or E. So if I put a C, they're going to promote it in this way, right? You get the idea. So this is something that it naturally follows that PR stuff, because if someone mentioned you on their site, you want to say thank you, you want to promote it. It was ego bait, you took the bait, you want to promote it, you're invested in the content. So definitely make sure that you put that on your promotables list, and then you have someone who delegated, who's like a social media manager, outsourced, inexpensive, to just go make sure that they follow that instruction and promote that content. You do not have to go write every social media post. You can also delegate the scheduling of meetings. This was a tool I used for years. She's a robot. Someone writes to me, they say they want to get together and chat. I reply and copy my AI robot. My robot virtual assistant replies to them. My robot virtual assistant suggests times. Hi, Christy. Would Thursday work? Blah, blah, blah. This is a robot that wrote this. It's called x.ai. And then suddenly it appears on my calendar. $40 a month. This person used to schedule, I have a human VA now, but my robot used to schedule 4, 5, 10 meetings a week. That saves me 2 hours. That was saving me 2 hours a week of going back and forth. Do not get out of that rhythm of sending people times, they send you back times, send people times. That doesn't need to be done anymore, right? Use Calendly or use calendar.com or use x.ai. Or use an assistant. It's ridiculous what people do in email, sending messages back and forth to try to find a time. Not necessary. Doodle if you're trying to schedule with groups. Also, research can just be delegated, which I love. I highly recommend this. You can delegate research. Google Tag Manager. I'm going to write an article about it. Who uses Google Tag Manager is one of the top questions according to Answer the Public. I went to Alexa. I downloaded a list of the top marketing websites. Alexa has a list of the top 50 websites in every category. I showed a VA how to use Ghostery, which is a Chrome plugin, to see what trackers they have, to see if they are using Google Tag Manager. The VA went through all those websites and told me whether or not they're using Tag Manager, and also made a note of which marketing tags they had on their website. I get this spreadsheet back, and in 2 seconds later, I can calculate the numbers and show the percentage of websites that use Google Tag Manager, the percentage of marketing websites that use Google Analytics, the average number of marketing tags that are on a typical website. This is original research that we produced extremely efficiently by delegating to a virtual assistant. They were just gathering data from the wild by using Chrome and a list of websites we gave them. That article performed pretty well. It's an infographic. Like a dozen websites or more have linked to that article over time. I'm not going to get into it, but it's also possible to delegate writing, as I mentioned, where instead of being the person who does all the work, you can work with an editor who finishes the job for you. You can even work with a ghostwriter who you give them the idea and they finish the article. What I want to suggest to you is that there are people who can write the first draft and then you can finish. So don't think of writing as one thing. It can be broken up. Every big job can be broken up into small jobs. And if you do that, you can work with the editorial guidelines to just tell them, this is our length, this is our tone, formatting images, this is how we work. The key, again, to delegation is documentation. You want to document the process so that they can go in and just follow your documentation. Better, by the way, the best documentation for delegation is to make a video of you explaining how to do something. They can go back and watch it. Some formats of content can be completely delegated, almost completely delegated, because they don't really need a writer. An interview podcast, there are services that will do the outreach, schedule it, manage the guests. You just get on the call and have a conversation. Then they'll edit the audio, they'll write the transcript, they'll post it, they'll create social assets and images. This is one of the things that Don't Panic Management does. They do podcast production. Almost the only thing you have to do is to show up and talk. Everything else is delegated. Roundup posts, similar. I know a guy, Kodrat, this is all he does, right? He builds the list, he does the outreach, he curates the answers, posts it, he notifies and shares, and he produces content that gets traction. This is him, bestexpertroundups.com. Super nice guy, really good at this. Influencers, he has a big network of influencers who want to be included. It's a extreme form of delegation. So now you collaborated with someone on your podcast or in that roundup, or someone included you in something, they linked to you or mentioned you, you're making friends with someone. Show thanks. This is a very important aspect of digital marketing, because digital marketing is based on relationships, and relationships is based on gratitude. So if you were ever on someone's podcast, or you have a podcast and someone's on it, send them a gift. Totally worth it. If not, and if you're going to just send them an email, make it a nice email. Write thank you on a piece of paper and take a picture. It looks way better than just a simple email and takes only minutes longer. I don't want to get a happy birthday email. Show me your face saying happy birthday to me. This is Brian Burkhardt. He's the best at this. Handwritten thank you notes are totally underrated. I'm a big fan of the handwritten thank you card. Hopefully you guys are appreciating this and that you write handwritten thank you notes. Oh, it's so hard to rise above the noise. No, it's not. Just do what 99% of people don't do. Put something in the forgotten inbox. It is very, very powerful. Handwritten thank you notes. I had, she's amazing. Ann Handley was the keynote speaker at our conference. Afterwards, she sent me a thank you that I blew my mind. This is what a handwritten thank you note looks like from a pro. She's drawing pictures. Basically you're becoming friends. I think partly why she was thanking me is that for the keynote, the opening keynote at our annual conference every year, I run a conference called Content Jam. 8 years we've been doing it. I make a tiny paper mache dragon and I give it to the keynote speaker as a thank you gift. It's made out of, I bend steel wire and then put tiny strips of paper towel and gesso like this, like it's like paper mache. It's like a hard, like cast material, and then I paint it. That's how I show gratitude. Nobody else does that. It's weird, I know, but she loved it so much she sent me a thank you note, right? How to be in the top 1%, how to make friends, how to be kind, how to show gratitude. Mark Schaefer was our opening keynote this year. There's the dragon I made him. Here we are on stage where I'm handing him the dragon. He is an amazing speaker and a great author and a thought leader, a legitimate thought leader who I'm proud to call a friend. Tip number 6, moving right along. Tip number 6, controversial. Some of you won't like this. Go to bed. Sleep, nutrition, and exercise is what I should have called this. Sleep, nutrition, and exercise. So I want you to have a sustainable professional career. And to do that, you need to have balance in your life. And you need to manage your time carefully, because time is what you've got. Time management is kind of a dumb word, actually. Like, time doesn't need to be managed. Time does fine by itself. You do not need to manage time. You need to manage your priorities. You need to budget your most important resource. Everyone gets the same amount of time every day. Think about it. Those people that you admire, that are so productive, that are getting it done, that are running companies and building brands and products and launching things and winning, and they have the same exact amount of time that you do. What do they do with it? That's the only difference. Low performers, in my experience, now this is going to trigger conversation here, I bet. Low performers, they sleep late. Then they wake up in the morning and they check their email. And then at work, during lunch, they're on Reddit, or they're on Facebook. They're on Facebook all the time on their phone. They have Facebook on their phones. Not recommended. Delete Facebook from your phone is my best tip. They handle email all day. They go home, they get some time with their family, then they go back on email, then they binge watch a show at night. They stay up later than they should, and then they sleep late again. Read the biography of CEOs, and you'll see a pattern. These people wake up with a plan, and they kick ass in the morning before their competitors get out of bed. 5 a.m., exercise. 5:30, you're writing. You're doing something important before you do something urgent. Do something important before you do something urgent. That they're creating content. You're doing something that has high value, that's much more, that's going to be alive for years. And then, of course, personally, I make breakfast for my 3-year-old boy and my 1-year-old girl and my wife every day. I cook eggs every day. It's my routine. I love it. I don't have to think about it. And then, yeah, of course, do your work. And then when you have time during the day, budget time to do important things, not just urgent things. Get your work done, go home, exercise. A lot of people like to exercise right after work. That's not my routine. Spend as much time as you can with your family, then go to bed. Maybe watch a half a show. Don't even watch a full show. Don't watch, you want to watch a movie? Give yourself a week to watch that movie. Watch it in little pieces. Get some entertainment and then go to sleep. Avoid alcohol on weekdays. This is I've never shown this before. This was my goal for 2019. I have a new goal for 2020. It was to do 5,000 pull-ups. Not even kidding. I do chin-ups. It takes me less than 1 minute. In fact, it takes me only 30 seconds to do this. I had to do like 15 a day, every day for the year to be able to do 5,000 in 1 year. So in my class, so I have a chin-up bar in my closet door. Next to that, I put a piece of graph paper. Every box is 5 chin-ups. I wrote the goal at the top. I signed my name, and I started tracking my goal. And as time went on, I'm getting closer, getting closer. I'm getting closer. I'm getting faster. I'm getting better. I'm getting stronger. Look, I can do more of them in one stretch. I basically do now I do 15, and then I take a shower, come back, and I do 10, and then so I'm doing 25 a day right now. And there I am. It's finished. I finished on October 28th. Drew a smiley face. This was my commitment to myself, but I tracked it visibly. It really started to speed up for me after I started using this app called Habit Bull. When you put it in the habit you're trying to develop, and you tap the date when you complete that habit, and it gives you like these streaks, and you want to keep your streak going. You want to keep your streak going. So you get a notification on your phone to follow your own commitment to yourself and to your goals. I really liked it. Speaking of time breakdowns, though, here's some others. Ginny Dietrich wakes up at 5 and she writes. She blogs directly into the WordPress CMS every day. Daily blogger, how does she do it? Book author, how does she do it? Runs a big business with lots of employees, how does she do it? Right? Here's how Molly Lynch manages her time. You can see how different people do it different ways. There's not just one way to do it, but she's another one who gets up early. Mark Beelan sleeps a little later. I know there's some of you out there who say, I love to work at night. Here's my argument against evenings. As the night goes on, your attention and mental capacity starts to decline until you're too tired to work and go to bed. But if you get up early and start working, your attention and mental capacity doesn't decline because you're getting ready for the day. So I think that the waning energy that people have, the night owls have, I worked that way for years. I'm finding I'm getting much more productive, much more work done if I do it in the mornings. Here's Justin Dobb, who's an agency executive. He's another very early riser. He exercises in the morning and blocks his time and gets to bed early. That guy's in bed at 9 p.m. Just an idea, okay? Don't skewer me in the comments. I know that some of you will disagree. Finally, I want to just end on a strong note here and remind people of their priorities. I've said this already once. What is important is seldom, this is a quote from a former American president. What is important is seldom urgent. What is urgent is seldom important. He makes the so-called Eisenhower box shows you that there are things that are both important and urgent, and they need to be done immediately. Go do that thing, go do it right now. It has to be done now, and it's important to do. But if it's urgent but not important, that can be delegated. Who can help you with that? Who can do it for you? If it's important but not urgent, you need to schedule time to do that thing, right? Like writing, like content marketing is based on a lot of stuff that if you don't do it, if you blow it off, nothing bad really happens. But if you don't do it routinely and you abandon it for a long time, then you're not going to meet your goals. And finally, things that aren't urgent and not important, just delete that crap. You don't need that in your life. This is my experience. What's important and urgent? Updating and repurposing high-performing content will get you a better result than creating new content. I'll explain in a minute. Creating videos and images and presentations is actually higher value and will get you better results than just writing articles. These things are just stronger than text, right? Presentations and videos are stronger than text. They're more compelling, right? But writing articles is still a better use of your time than responding to emails. You can let your inbox go for 2 days and knock out a really valuable content project. It's going to be much better for your brand. But responding to emails is still better than scrolling through Facebook and Instagram. As I said, delete that from your phone. The more boring you make your phone, the more productive you will be. Try to make your phone really boring. Think of it this way. What is the opposite? You want focus? What's the opposite of focus? Distraction. Remove distraction, you get focus. What distracts you? Go delete a bunch of those, turn off notifications. Super powerful. Unsubscribe from 100 emails. Super powerful. You need to give yourself deep work time for deep work. It works. It's really great. But I'm going to go into, but we're an SEO crew here, and so I'm going to talk a little bit about SEO to close this out. This is what analytics looks like for one URL. You promoted that piece of content in email. Visitors came. You got a little bit of tail of traffic from social, collaborating with influencers, people share it, you're promoting it. But whether or not you get this long tail of traffic depends on how well you aligned it with the key phrase and you got performance from search. Your total traffic to your website is the aggregate of every URL, obviously. So I want you to go into Google Search Console, which you can get to from Google Analytics, Acquisition, Search Console, Queries. Go into Google Search Console, and in here, this is going to show you a list of every phrase that you rank for, and it's going to show you your average position. Technically not your ranking, but it's still an approximation of how high you should rank for that over this date range. And then if you can filter for this, I want to filter for average position. So I'm going to use the advanced filter. So click on advanced, and that's going to give you the chance to filter for a column other than the first column. Include where the average position, an approximation of rank, is greater than 10. If your average position is greater than 10, you're just looking at the phrases for which you rank high on page 2. Here's the list. These are the list of phrases that I rank for but don't rank for that high. This is a list of striking distance key phrases. Even if the traffic is ultra low, these are the best opportunities. Now go to Google and confirm the rank. Here's a phrase I was ranking for, user flow analysis. Google says analytics or Search Console tells me I'm not ranking that high. Boom, there it is. It's correct. I'm ranking pretty low. I'm ranking at the bottom of page 1. My current ranking for that key phrase is 9. Okay. So now I'm going to go defend that traffic magnet. I'm going to go improve that page and rank higher for that phrase by updating the content. How do I update the content? I'll give you an example. So this is an article called 6 Web Design Tips Based on Brain Science. I'm going to go update this article. I want to update it by using all the semantically related phrases. This is semantic SEO. It's ranking but not ranking that high. So I go search for web design tips and it gives me a list of phrases. I'm going to put those on a list. I can get all those all at once by going to keywordtool.io. 152 phrases. I put a bunch of these on my list. I go search for the phrase and I look at the people also ask box and it gives me tons of other questions, related questions. I put these on my list. So now I have an idea for what are all of the phrases that people search for that are related to my topic. You can do this on paper. There's no magic to this. This is a list of all the words and phrases that are semantically related to the topic of web design tips. These are all the subtopics. Now I go rewrite my original piece, and as I do, I cross these off the list. The new article is a much better article. It's completely rewritten, or 80% rewritten. It's now called 27 Research-Backed Web Design Tips, How to Design a Website That Works. It used to be an 845-word page. The new version? 4,300 words with 4 sections, 27 subsections, 30 charts and diagrams. I've got 5 contributor quotes. I'm literally and sincerely trying to make the best page on the internet. That's SEO. If you're not doing this, you're not doing SEO. I'm literally trying to make the best piece of content on the internet for my topic. Today, that article ranks #1 for web design tips. It used to get a couple hundred visitors per month. Now it's getting a couple thousand visitors per month. And is it helping my authority? Absolutely. 150 websites have linked to that article over time. So it's a crazy idea, but think about this. Maybe you don't need to have 1,000 articles on your website. Maybe you need 100 great articles. That's prioritization. I bring that up. This is a time management trick. The world is not waiting for another medium quality blog post. It's not worth it. Never half-ass 2 things, whole-ass 1 thing. But when you do this, don't change the URL. Final tip, don't change that URL. Because you want to make URLs, because you'd ruin the benefit of rewriting an article. You want to leverage the existing authority and age and seasoned URL. So with that in mind, you should always, this took me 15 years to figure out, use URLs that are easy to reuse later. That number, big mistake. Don't put numbers in URLs. And in an infographic, why would you put that? Infographic or webinar, don't put formats in URLs. URLs should just be short and simple. They should be English readable. They do not need to have numbers or formats in them. I do have one final tip. I had this idea a long time ago to collect, you saw it, my lifetime body of work. They call it your elbow, your lifetime body of work. This is a bonus tip. This is for the A students, those of you who are going for bigger goals. If you, in the beginning, set out by making an outline of everything you know, that sounds crazy, it's possible. Pick a topic and make an outline of everything you know about that topic. Digital marketing. For me, it was content marketing. I made an outline of everything I know. It was like the Andypedia. Then I blogged into those topics. Some of those I'd written about, some of those I had not yet written about. I knew I had to write deeper. And then the blog becomes a book. This Post-it note grid on my wall turned into this outline of all of my knowledge on a topic, which turned into this table of contents for the book. Over time, I was gradually creating a book, which turned into eventually the book, which is available on Amazon or wherever you are in the world. You should be able to find it. It's called Content Chemistry. It's now in its 5th edition. So that's my final tip. It's how do people find the time to write a book? They are all writing books. We are all writing books gradually. It's just some people have the forethought to plan that in advance and create a structure so that they're gradually creating content that fits into that that outline, that table of contents, that structure. So I'm coming back, turning off screen sharing. Sorry for the technical difficulties at the top. I hope I couldn't see you while I was speaking, but I have faith that you were there listening, and I'm glad if this is useful to you. We've got time for just a couple of comments. Masha, do you want me to just read them out of the comments here, or do you want to come back?
I guess we can finish the event, and then we will send the comments to you by email. I am sure that the presentation was just fantastic, and I'm sure that some people would like to comment afterwards. They need some time to go through it again, because for me it was super helpful. So I'm sure that you will receive a lot of comments by email.
No problem at all. You can also connect with me on LinkedIn. That's a good. That's my best social network, LinkedIn and Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
And you can also find me on the blog, orbitmedia.com. But this was just a lot of fun. I'm glad that, I'm sorry about the trouble at the beginning, but I'm glad we found the time to do this, and I'd collaborate with you guys anytime. You're the best.
Thanks.